Are you thinking about paying cash for a house? Well, hold your horses there, Sparky. Don't do that quite yet. Watch this video before you take that critical next step. And stick with me as I share with you a shocking fact that I am sure you never knew about paying cash for a house. All right, so let's talk about the pros and cons, right? First and foremost, pros. It's simple. There's no payment. I mean, this is kind of the obvious thing, right? But it is nice to know that you have a paid off house. You don't have to worry about a monthly payment. It's not that extra weight wearing on your brain. It's simple. It keeps it easy. All you have to worry about really is your taxes and insurance, and of course maintenance, which is one of the reasons why sometimes renting is better, depending on how much maintenance you have to do, right? I'm one of those guys, I'm not handy around the house. My wife knows this. So I had to become handsome instead of handy. Sad, still working on the handsome part. But anyways, it's nice to know that there's no payment, correct? Number two, you don't have to worry about interest rates, especially right now. Rates keep climbing and climbing and climbing. And this might be one of the reasons why you're debating about whether you want to just pay cash. I know I've thought about it as well, thinking, man, even currently, what if rates are 7%, 8%, for you to buy this house? That could be a lot. So it's good to know that you don't have to worry about those interest rates. You can just forget about it, right? Now, those are the pros. And that's about all I could come up with right there, is that it's simple and you don't have to worry about interest rates. No payment, no interest rates. But the cons. Here's one thing that shocked me that I did not know. You ready for this? You can still be foreclosed upon. Now, I always thought that if you had a mortgage, they could always take your house away, right? Until you paid off the bank, you're not free. That is not true. As I became an investor, I found out that when people get tax liens, guess what? Many of those tax liens that people are able to get and take a home away from somebody is actually people that had a paid off home. They had no money owed to the bank, but they owed back taxes. You still have to pay taxes each and every year. Yes, I know, Uncle Sam wants you, and if you don't pay him, he will take that house away from you. So you gotta be careful of that. You still have to pay taxes. You don't have to pay for insurance, but that would be a very smart, wise idea, especially if you pay cash for something like this. So just know you can still be foreclosed upon. Now, the second con that I see is that your money loses to inflation. Here's the truth, is that equity that's in a home builds whether you do anything or not, right? Because let's be honest, if you paid off that house, the house is gonna appreciate just like it would if you had a mortgage on it. The house doesn't say, ooh, you have a mortgage, I'm not gonna appreciate anymore. It doesn't do that. Houses will appreciate regardless. But here's the truth, is that typically speaking, houses do not appreciate more than what I refer to as the true rate of inflation. Now, we all hear about what the government purports to be inflation, right? But they've been messing with those numbers since the 1970s just so they wouldn't have to keep raising people's Social Security so much. They're trying to do that so the Social Security lasts longer, otherwise they would have bankrupted it long ago. So they started manipulating those little consumer price index numbers to make it seem like inflation is lower than in reality. I recommend if you want to check out something, go to shadowstats.com and check out where they actually tracked the old way of tracking inflation and was showing what it is today. When we heard about inflation in like 2021 and 2022 being like 8% or so, it was actually more like 15+% per year. You already felt it. You already knew it. You already knew that to be true. But the truth is that homes generally don't keep up with inflation. So if you put all your money in there, that means your equity that's in that house, even though it is growing, it's just not really growing as much. You really have that opportunity cost there. And that leads me to my third con, which is your money could be doing something better. What if your equity could be making more money than what it's costing you in interest? Now, one thing I've shown, and this is something that you can watch other videos on, but I talked about compounding interest versus simple interest. Now, to understand the difference, compounding interest, if you've ever seen it before, like you have $100,000 and say you make 5%, the next year you have $105,000. Well, now that $105,000 is making 5%. Now you have $110,000 and 100, right? And then that $110,000 and $100 is now making 5%, and now you have $115,000 and a few hundred, right? And it just keeps going, and eventually the curve goes up like this. Now with simple interest, when you pay on loans, it does the opposite. Interest goes down like this over time. Have you ever noticed that as you make your loan payments, whether it's a mortgage or your car loan payments, notice that every time you make a payment, more and more goes to principal and less goes to interest? Now, some people will say, oh yeah, it's because the banks charge me all the interest up front. They don't. It's simple math. They're just charging the same amount of interest, but as you pay more than interest-only payments, that balance goes down, less and less gets charged to interest. That's why more and more goes to principal. It's not because they're ripping you off. It's just simple, plain math. But the interest goes down. So what does this mean for you? This means if you get a 30-year mortgage, and so let's just say that you have it at 5% right now. Well, if you have it at 5%, guess what? You only have to earn about a 2.3% return on your money if you had that money to pay off the house in cash already. You only have to earn 2.3% on that money. You could throw it into a CD, making at least 2.3%, and in 30 years, you'll have just as much interest as that 5% loan if you only paid the minimum payments over that period of time. Let me repeat this. If you make at least 2.3% compounding interest on the money you could use to pay off your house, but you instead just keep a 30-year mortgage, well, what happens is that the 30-year mortgage interest you pay will be the same as the interest you earned on 2.3%, even though it's more than double the interest rate on the mortgage. This was a huge epiphany to me that I learned only about really less than 15 years ago. And now I'm teaching it to you because if you do have, let's say, maybe with one of these older mortgages that are at 3%, you'll have to earn about 1.4% to beat it. So there's a huge opportunity cost. You can be making hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars more by getting that money working for you. And even if we took out that whole fact, what if it was just simply about the interest? Maybe you would be paying 7% interest on a mortgage, but you could be making 10, 12, 15+% investing in other things. Maybe you take that money and invest in other properties that then start kicking off and paying you returns right now. That would be big for you, wouldn't it? I actually had a client who was trying to pay off his mortgages faster. He wanted to pay it off in 6 years. He was putting all the extra money towards it, right? His name was Henry. He was down in San Diego. And he's saying, Chris, in 6 years, I'll be debt-free. I have my investment property. I have my home. I'm going to pay it off. Well, we did the math. I said, all right, let's see what you actually pay off. Now, we kept the taxes and insurance out of the equation because when you pay off your mortgage, you just save on the mortgage payment, but not all the taxes and insurance. After all of that, when you factor that in, paying off all his mortgages in the next 6 years would free up $4,200 a month. That's about $50,000 a year. Not bad, right? It'd be nice not to have to pay $50,000 a year, wouldn't it? That was his goal. He was so laser focused. He didn't see the opportunity cost that was much bigger. Because what did we find out? Found out that his investment property had $700,000 of equity in it. He was only making $200 a month. I said, Henry, look, $200 a month you're making on this property, but this $700,000 of equity could be moved into other properties, making you $70,000 a year, maybe more. But even just conservatively, $70,000 a year versus $2,400 a year. Yeah, but Chris, I just want to pay it off. Oh, and Henry, look, your equity in your home, we could cash out and refinance your payment, get it lower, and then cash out some more money. We can actually cash out $400,000 and not raise your payment. We can keep the same payment you're paying now and get $400,000 out of your property. What does that mean? That means we can make about $40,000 a year on this. And so I told him, I said, Henry, if we do this, net, even with the different changes and whatnot, we'll still net you about $80,000 this year. He said, yeah, I don't know, Chris. I'm not so sure. I'm like, look, you want to spend 6 years trying to pay this sucker off? That to only free up $50,000 a year, but we can make you at least $70,000 or $80,000 a year, if not more than that? I don't know. Well, eventually, his head finally wrapped around it. He's like, oh, this is a no-brainer, isn't it? I should take advantage of this. And so he did. The crazy thing is, you keep reinvesting that money, he was going to be way over $100,000 more a year of passive income after 6 years than just freeing up the $50,000. That's the difference, guys. That biggest opportunity cost could be trapped inside your home. Do you really want to do that? Now, there's different reasons to do it, of course. Not everybody should just go and invest their money. If you don't know what to do, don't do it. Don't take risk when you don't know what you're doing. But if you can get educated and it makes sense in your situation, it could be a great thing. I've actually had clients we've told, you know what, pay off your house. This works for you. You got a lot of extra cash. Just pay off your house, invest the rest. You'll be great. So there's always a situation for everybody. Just know that yours could be something special too. Okay, guys. So here's the other concern we hear people. Are you worried about the real estate market about to drop? Well, check this video out now to see whether it matters or does it really matter. Check it out.